I'm your friendly announcer. I got some serious news to pass on to everybody. And what I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster. Could turn your joy and laughter to tears and pain. It's 'cause love is in need of love today. Yes, it is. So don't delay. Send yours in right away. 'Cause hate's going round. It's breaking many hearts. Yes, it is. So stop it, please, because it's gone too far. Yeah. Ooh, ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh. Y'all know the rest. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mental House with me, your host, Khadija. I am back. I'm back. I feel a lot better mentally, emotionally, and physically. And so I decided to make a video today. Thank y'all all who have sent their condolences to me and shared their experiences with their pets. That kind of eased my pain. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to even comment. Thank you for subscribing, and sharing my video. And again, yes, I thank you for being out there. Y'all, let me just start this. I want to start this by saying, I hear a lot of people out there saying, don't believe anything that you can't see. And that's a problem for me at this age, because while I might have felt that way when I was 20 years younger, but I'm 20 years older now, and I'm here to tell you, you better believe in things that you can't see. Because if all you believing in is this shit that you see, there's no hope for you, period. And if you can't even grasp your mind around the concept that you only here for a short time, you are actually a spirit having a human experience. That's what it's all about. It's not the other way around. So if you want, I encourage anybody to fight for any cause that they feel necessary. Do whatever you feel to rock your boat. For some people was singing, for some people was acting. But how dare anybody out there tell anybody how they should live the life that God gave them? The life that they have to choose. Choose. You have free will as a human being. What cause you want to follow, what cause you believe in, and there is nothing wrong with spending your time in places that evolve you and not tear you down. So, if you don't think that your spirit is important, then that you're telling me you are a person that has never meditated. You are telling me you are a person that does not know the benefits and the value of it, because you're very limited in your thought process. You can only respond to what you see. So, which to me is ludicrous. It's insane, because you don't see a flower growing. And common sense would tell you, if you don't see the flower grow, yet it's there and it is, then something is I am. And it is that you need to connect to, because all this other stuff, it's whatever you make it. So I commend anybody, again, that takes their time and uses their life force the way they choose to. We are not all monolithic, and we do not all have to subscribe. Let me make sure I say it clearly. We do not all have to subscribe to the same ways of getting to whatever we perceive as peace here on this plane. Because one thing I can assure you is that you will die. And there is another existence outside of this one. Some people know exactly what that is right now in this existence that we're in. You may not know it, but there's some that do. All right. So with that being said, because I wanted to just start that off with that because of not just a conversation that I had with someone, and I know they listen, so I just wanted to make sure I get that out. But today I want to talk to most parents and mothers and fathers, big sisters, big brothers, people, educators, teachers, and what I want to talk about is really the problem with yelling. You don't know what the fuck yelling is. You want me to tell you what it is? Some of us have grown up in households and that's all we hear is yelling. Yelling, yelling, yelling. And we don't even practice using our quiet voices, which is something that I love, that having the chance to be the grandparent now. I have a chance to reconstruct and do a lot of things that weren't done for me. I have a lot of things that maybe wasn't even done for my daughter. Because when you know better, you do better. And I think that while I have a chance to right some of these wrongs or just some correction, because being one who's always seek truth, I think that I've always knew something was wrong with what I was hearing. I always knew that there was something wrong with the way that we were responding to one another, not only in families, but just as a community. We like to fight too much. We're so violent. And people say, well, what you think? We've been through slavery. We went through all that, and they beat us, and they did all this. We can't help but be violent. Well, that's some aspects of that may be true. But then there's some aspects that may not be true. Yes, you can take a dog and continuously fight that dog, and then he'll be bred in with the tendencies to fight. I definitely agree with that. It's like a cellular memory type of thing. However, every pup in that litter won't be a killer. Some may be, some may not be. It just is what it is. But when you're talking about yelling and what that produces, first of all, the first problem that it produces is that there's no evidence of abuse. Okay, so that's number one. Somebody's yelling at you and breaking your spirit down, especially as a kid. So when I hear these older people yelling at these children, and I have to catch myself when I get so mad sometimes, it's because it's so easy, y'all. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just here to say it's so easy to do. Okay, so let me say that when you start that, screaming at your children, screaming at people, you're just setting them up for a long life of depression, and setting them up for emotionally damaging behaviors. So let me just share this with y'all. And this is by Hillary Lindo. She says, the problem with verbal abuse is that there is no evidence. What do you mean, lack of evidence? When people are physically and sexually abused, it's concrete and real. But verbal abuse is amorphous. I feel like if I told someone I was verbally abused, they'd think I was just complaining about being yelled at, Marla explained. But it's so much more than that, I validated. The problem is no one can see my scars. She knew intuitively. See, no one can see. So it's not everything you see. Just trying to get y'all to grasp that concept. The problem is no one can see my scars. She knew intuitively that her depression, her anxiety, her deep-seated insecurities were wounds that stemmed from verbal abuse she endured as a child. I wish maybe I was beaten, Marta shared on more than one occasion. I'd feel more legitimate. Her eyes and her statement were haunting, and it brought tears to my eyes. Verbal abuse is so much more than getting scolded. Marta told me that there were many reasons for her mother's tirades, but they were all traumatizing. The loud volume of her voice, the shrill tone of her voice, the dead look in her eyes, the critical disdain and the scornful face expression that Marta felt made her feel hated, the long duration, sometimes her mother yelled for hours, the names and insults, you're spoiled, disgusting, wretched, just a brat, stupid, no good, low down, not good for nothing. The unpredictability of that and that flip of the switch that turned her mother into someone else, and perhaps worst of all, the abandonment. Being frequently yelled at changes the mind, the brain, and the body in a multitude of ways, including increasing the activity of the amygdala, the emotional brain, increases stress hormones in the bloodstream, increasing muscular tension and more. Being frequently yelled at as children changes how we think and feel about ourselves, even after we become adults and leave the house. That's because the brain wires according to our experiences. We literally hear our parents' voices yelling at us in our heads, even when they're not there. Did y'all hear me? I want to say that again, especially for those of y'all who are stuck on things that you can't see. I mean, I'm sorry. You know what I mean. Being yelled at frequently as children changes how we think and feel about ourselves, even after we become adults and leave home. That's because the brain wires according to our experiences. So we literally hear our parents' voices yelling at us in our heads, even when they're not there. Attachment and infant mother research confirms what we intuitively know. Humans do better when they feel safe, consistently loved, which means, among other things, being treated with respect. What is news to many of us is that we are born with fully matured, hardwired core emotions like sadness, fear, and anger. And when fear, for example, is repeatedly triggered by a harsh environment, like one where there is a lot of yelling, automatic physical and emotional reactions occur that cause traumatic stress to a child. The stress in their little brains and body increases from anything that makes them feel attacked, including loud voices, angry eyes, dismissive gestures, and more. Children do so much better when they are calm. The calmer, the more connected the caregiver, the calmer and more secure the child. And the healthier it is for the child's brain and his body. Knowing this, here are some things that all parents can remember to help young brains develop well, and by ensuring our children feel safe and secure. Know that children have very real emotional needs that need proper tending. In general, the more these needs are met, the easier it will be for the child to be resilient in the face of other life's challenges. Learning about core emotions will help your child successfully manage their emotions. You can affect your child's self-esteem by being kind, compassionate, curious about their mind and their world. Their world. Remember? When a break in the relationship occurs, as often happens during conflicts, try to repair the emotional connection with your child as soon as possible. Okay? Don't stay mad. Don't be the mama that's yelling for 5 and 6, or the dad that's beating and just got to keep going on. Don't be that. Don't be that. You can help your child feel safe and secure by allowing them to separate from you and become their own person. Then welcome them back with love and connection, even when you're angry or disappointed in their behaviors. When you're a parent, it's not easy to control your temper or realize when you've crossed the line into verbal abuse. I get it. There is a slippery slope between being a strict disciplinarian and traumatizing a young brain. A little awareness goes a long way. Being aware of one's behavior, listening to our tone and voice and choice of words, and watching our body language will keep us all in check. Little children who can act tough, defiant, or even indifferent to our actions are still very much vulnerable to trauma. Our own childhood experiences, wonderful, horrible, and everything in between, need to be remembered and honored. We can all strive to help ourselves and our families evolve into better beings, to increase the best general experience we receive as children and reduce those painful ones. Y'all know the painful ones y'all had. Y'all know, and for some of us who parents beat us outside in front of our friends, for those of us who are humiliated in front, man, that's messed up. You know, we can all strive to help ourselves and our families evolve to better people. Remember that. Several years into the work together, Marta came in following a distressing weekend and shared an amazing experience. A fight with her mother had left her reeling. I told myself my distress will soon pass and I'll be okay. I named, validated, and felt the sadness in my body as I gave myself compassion. Something that you never got from your mom, probably. After I spent time with my feelings, I took a walk through the park, looked at nature. I felt better. Proud of the way she could now self-soothe and not take that anger and argument with her mom for the rest of the day, I said to myself, wow, what a wonderful mother I have been to myself today. Sometimes we have to mother ourselves. Sometimes we have to give ourselves the compassion that we didn't get from our parents. For whatever reason. I'm not here to make excuses for them, because that's what a lot of people do. They say things like, well, at least they fed you, at least they clothed you. Hell, they laid down and had you. They shouldn't even did that if they couldn't feed you and clothe you. Unless it was a situation they were raped and they couldn't help it. So don't tell me that. If you lay down and you decide you want to have a children, you got a responsibility to be selfless. Because now you are developing and you are trying to develop something that you can't see. You are trying to develop a whole human being. Forget the outside influences that they're going to have to deal with. But your job is to build them up as the strongest, self-sufficient, aware being before they even step out to all that other stuff. Because really, if each and every one of us were to take this on as a mantra, and we know that communities are just an extension of families, and then the institutions are just an extension of the communities, then maybe just maybe, we can change some shit. Because that's where it's going to start, in my opinion. Now, Hillary Jacobs Lindo is LCSW, and she received her BA in biochemistry from Wesleyan University and an MSW from Fordham University. She's a certified psychoanalyst and a therapist and a supervisor. So I wanted to share that with my family today. I hope you got something out of it, because I certainly did. And with that being said, may you go out and have a wonderful day. Hug a baby. Hug maybe a grown baby. Doesn't matter. Just try to show some love today in a world that's so full of hate. With that being said, I'll see y'all next time right here in the Mental House. Bye-bye.